There was no permanent situation room before Kennedy pushed for it. You know, presidents had set up situation rooms in wartime. Franklin Roosevelt famously used the map room. Lincoln famously went down to the telegraph office. William McKinley had a version of one as well. But there had never been a permanent 24/7 watch center in the White House. And what happened was Eisenhower actually thought about creating one, but never got to it. What happened was that Kennedy, after the Bay of Pigs, was pretty pissed off. He thought he got bad information from the CIA about the planning of the operation. He thought he wasn't getting a straight story from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So he ordered the creation of the Situation Room. One of the things we uncovered, which was fun for us to uncover, is that he actually had a memo on his desk 3 weeks before the Bay of Pigs, which we think is the first time the term Situation Room was ever used. It came from his military aide named Godfrey McHugh. His nickname was God. And he had set up the idea of setting up a White House Situation Room to deal with communications during the Cold War. One of the fun things in researching was just to find out a little bit about this guy, Godfrey McHugh, who is a larger-than-life character. He was an Air Force general who actually spoke French, spoke English with a French accent. He'd grown up in Paris, the son of an American industrialist. But he was one of these guys that just seemed to be everywhere in the most important situations in the world. He dined with Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt as a teenager in the White House. He cruised on the presidential yacht with Harry Truman. He dated Jackie Kennedy before JFK married her. And he was really a combination of military and personal aid to the president. He was the one that originally sent in the memo. They created the room very quickly after the Bay of Pigs, 2 weeks, $30,000. And then after they created it, Kennedy didn't use it all that much. He didn't like it.
What did it look like back then?
Nothing. Kennedy famously called it a pig pen. It was simply a room.
Smoky?
It's very smoky. There were ashtrays up until the 80s, I think, in the Situation Room.
The 80s feels like actually an early cutoff.
Yeah, right. Yes. It was not much to look at. There was very rudimentary technology, teletype machines off the room. It was originally manned by just people who would do 24-hour shifts. They would work for 24 hours and then take 2 days off, and it gradually expanded over the course of several presidencies. And now, I guess I'll jump ahead a little bit, but even up to the time that I worked there in the White House and under President Clinton, it still wasn't much to look at. It was the single conference room, the famous JFK conference room, with a couple of ante-rooms, but windowless, very low ceilings. It kind of looks like a conference room in the Poconos. But I had the chance to go back last August, as I was finishing the book, just before they revealed the new Situation Room to the world, and it completely blew me away.
Why?
Because now it's several rooms, super high-tech. It's like the set of 24. They have stadium-style seating for the watch centers. Each watch officer has 3 massive screens in front of them on their computer, screens on every wall that can be wiped of classified information if anybody walks in the room. The sit-room directors sit behind the watch center in glass-walled offices that they can, with a flick of a switch, turn opaque so that nobody can see inside. The president's conference room now is much nicer mahogany paneling, but each wall now has hidden screens where they can basically hold international summits. And President Biden has done it several times. In the immediate aftermath of the Putin's invasion of Ukraine, he actually held a G8 summit with every leader of the G8 on screens, Hollywood Square style screens, piped into the room. So it's had a dramatic transformation.